Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stay on the Line, a horror genre podcast hosted and created by me, Terrah, and every Thursday we talk about something horror genre related. And we are continuing off with our Creepshow review series, where we are just analyzing and ranking the episodes of each season of Creepshow, located and available on Shudder. I have my shoes on. Let me get comfortable. I was like, why do I have shoes on right now? And we are welcome with Zanny X.
Hello.
Correspondent of the podcast.
Show.
Are you feeling creep? Show.
So, I'm a little creepy, a little sleepy, because I just woke up even though it's 2 p.m.
Period.
I'm here. I'm
Actually, no, you didn't just wake up. You told me that someone was coming over at 10 a.m. So what's the truth?
They canceled.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Trade,
which makes me mad
y'all understand.
Because I've not cleaned this apartment in the way that I cleaned this apartment for them to come over. Because I had so much anxiety that they were coming. Like, that's how my mind works. My landlord was like, we're coming over to inspect your apartment. So I, sprayed the walls with bleach and wiped them down. Like, I was so anxious.
Honestly,
and I was like,
it was what it needed it.
Yeah, it did. But I was like, I don't want them. Why are they coming? Why are they coming? I don't want them to come here. I don't want them to come here. I don't want to come here. Got it done, was like, whew, and then got a text that was like, we're canceling. We're no longer coming over. And I was like,
are you not happy that you have a clean house now?
No. I mean, I am, but it is what it is.
What else have you been up to?
I've been watching a lot of Creepshow.
Oh my God.
I've been doing some dragaronies, working on some fun little projects.
One of my managers listens to this. Hey, Mary, do not fire me, please. At least give me a good week's heads up so I can find a new job.
Shout out to Mary, everyone.
I like working at my day job. I like it. I've been procrastinating on sewing a lot. Literally, this outfit behind me, I could have probably had the basics done, something wearable done, probably on Monday. And it is now Thursday when we are recording. And it is just a pile of fabric over there that's been cut. So that's my life. I've been very depressed. But I'm glad that we are here together to talk about spooky things.
Spooky things.
So we're talking about what, Zanny?
We're talking about the delicious, tasty, spooky season 2 of Creepshow.
I was waiting for you to do that one more fucking time. Like a rat jumping around the corner looking for food.
It's Ratma. What is it?
Ratma.
Ratma.
I love Ratma. You know, their next movie's coming out in October. VHS 99. We're going to have to review it.
Yeah!
In between reviewing literally everything else.
Everything else. October, we are booked and blessed for reviewing stuff.
Bitch, I'm booked and blessed. I'm in 4 different cities in October.
And you said, baby, I'm just trying to make some money.
Literally. Anyways.
Do you have your candle next to you?
I do. Should I light it? Should we light it? Oh my God. Now you asked me permission to do this. Zanny was like, I don't know when I can make noise or not. I'm like, Zanny, it picks up everything, babes.
Every sound. The way when I thought about it, I was like, that makes so much sense.
Zanny was playing with their lighter the last time they were recording. I said, Zanny, are you playing with your lighter? And then immediately put it down.
Creepshow.
Ladies, gather round as we cast a spell on all the negative energies we have in our life.
We said bubble, bubble, boil and trouble.
Zanny, would you like to speak something into existence?
Yeah. Is it just me, or does that look like Whitney Houston?
And make sure you block out all of those negative energies. Thank you so much, Zanny. It was so nice speaking to you. We'll call you.
Yeah.
We'll call you.
Oh my gosh, whoa. I can't hear you. Hello, Terrah?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Hello?
It looks like our service went.
My negative energy is it you?
I just mimicked me losing my voice.
You'll have your look.
Okay, yeah, so we're talking about season 2 of Creepshow.
Creepshow.
Which came out in 2020. What a cursed year.
What a fun... Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that means they had to have filmed before 2020. That makes sense. Never mind. Ignore me.
I think so. So, yeah, we're talking about this season, and this is a ranking list. So we will be ranking all the stories in season 2 from least favorite to most favorite. So, Zanny, do you want to kick this off right away? What is your... There's only 9 in this one. The last season had 12 because they had 6 episodes. This one had 5 episodes. However, the last episode was just one story, which I'll talk about that when we get to that. So, Zanny, what is your number 9?
I
We're
hope
starting
to
the
God
list. We're also, spoiler alert, if you want to watch this show, go ahead. We're going to be spoiling a little bit of it. Go on Shudder. I know you've seen the message. You've responded to me, so.
You said I know you've seen it.
Okay, so rank number 9.
Number 9 on our list. I really hated. I really dislike this one. Pesticide.
You know what? It was a toss-up between Pesticide and The Walls of Madness.
Yeah.
This is like yours too. Bitch, I'm screaming. It literally, I'm telling you, it was a toss-up of like anyone. I was writing the list and I was like, is Pesticide my least favorite or is The Walls of Madness? And then I was just like, you know what? I don't really care for either. So explain Pesticide to us, Annie.
So Pesticide, this guy is pest control, and he's there to eliminate some roacharonis. To me, all living creatures are living creatures. I'm not going to kill a roach just because they're chilling in my space. They can live here too.
Bitch, that's why your fucking landlord needed to come over. I hope they're not listening right now because apparently this bitch got roaches in her fucking house and she don't.
Sadly, they don't come visit me, but I'm just saying, like, for me, I'm the type of gal, like, if I'm eating at a Waffle House and a roach is on the table, I'm going to cut a piece of my waffle off and let her have some. Because she's worked just as hard as I have.
Y'all hearing this shit? White people are nasty.
I said,
bitch, wipe your ass. You'd be like, I don't wipe the poo particles from my ass because they're living creatures too. Bitch, what?
No.
Bitch, you eat chicken nuggets. You eat pizza, Hot Pockets. You kill those fucking animals, bitch. Well, also, there's a humane way to get rid of insects in a house too. So maybe look into that. Yeah, maybe use your time better.
So Pesticide, he's a
Also, this guy's from The Walking Dead. He plays Eugene.
Yeah, I will say this: the cast for
cast, y'all. Molly Ringwald is in this season.
In it. Also, who's the guy? No, the girl. The last episode.
I have her name. It's I think it's Darcy.
She is Janet from The Good Place.
Her name is Darcy Carden, and Justin Long is in that episode too.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. But not me being like, let me talk about another episode because I don't want to talk about this one.
And Allie Larder is in here. She's from Final Destination 1 and 2, Resident Evil.
Iconic cast. Everyone had a very solidified person, if I'm correct.
Ted Raimi plays himself.
Which was gag-worthy. But this Pesticide guy, yes, I do. Tristan told me beforehand. He's a very well-known director in the spooky world. I did not know until Tristan told me. So he shows up to do this gig, and
not Ted Raimi, the Pesticide. We're back to Pesticide
guy. And he's just the stereotypical, like, man, I'm gross, I'm slimy, I'm Pesticide. Which to me, that trope never makes sense to me because you're like exterminating animals. Like you'd be clean. Clean and would care about hygiene. And so he basically is hired for this job, and this woman, he's kind of has this weird altercation with a woman. It's not that important, but like they're
a therapist. Yeah. He's like fully like, hey, can you pay me? And she's like in the middle of a session with a client, and she's like, bitch, can you relax?
Which also confuses me because I could go on, but like he just walks into the office. Like you're doing, like that is so confidential. You would not like. You should not have scheduled the pesticide man at the same time of an appointment. You should have not had that. I don't know. It just there could have been. Wow,
victim blaming. Wow, Zanny. Logistic things to the side. General thoughts about this story.
It was just weird. And it was also the part that made me upset was it was so predictable because I was like, oh, okay, I know what's gonna happen. And then was it
predictable? Because I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. So like the pesticides guy is tasked to kill these houseless people by this dude who you are like this rich guy, and you're like immediately thinking, okay, you're probably bad news. And maybe I'm just confused. I watched it twice, but like he gets them all killed, and then he's punished by the same guy.
So I was also confused, and so I had to read the Wikipedia page. Basically, he does it by accident. He does not do it himself. He's like so this businessman is like, I want to hire you to kill homeless people so they can get off of my property because I've been trying to kick them out and they won't leave, and I need to build like a big thing here. And the guy's like, no, I'm not going to do it. He's like, I will give you buku money. Like I will give you so much money. And the guy's like, I'll do it. That's a lot of money. And then he goes to do it. And he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he like bumps into a homeless man, and that causes him to spill this poison into this soup that he's unaware that they're gonna eat. And so then he goes to sleep and he's like, I didn't do it. Like I chickened out. Like I shouldn't have done it XYZ. But I know I killed like one person because he like the guy he bumps into he accidentally kills. And he's like, so maybe that'll count. And then he starts getting haunted by these visions of these like giant bugs attacking him.
But I don't know how that. I don't understand why that demon guy is upset with him. I mean, he technically did.
He technically did the job.
He did the job.
That's why I was like, this is weird. And then like he got turned into a bug himself and got squished, and it was just foreshadowing, and it was good.
It was chaotic. It honestly, like, I hate to say this, this was my least favorite one because one of my least favorite ones. The two bottom spots are tied for me. The rest of the stories are pretty decent.
Yeah.
But this is ranked pretty low for me because at what point do we get... It just seems like a fever dream, and I understand that's what it's supposed to be. He's, like, being haunted, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, why is he back at the therapist place?
Because I think it was because he like she was a therapist, and he was like, I'm struggling with some type of mental thing going on.
But he wasn't driving there. He, like, passed out on the floor, and then he woke up in her chair, and she was like, hey...
T.
Like, I would not drag... If I saw someone passed out, you probably should not move a body and just call the ambulance. So I don't understand. And then him turning into, like, a little version of himself and being killed. And then the demon pops up, and then he's like, hi, to the therapist. It's like, she never met him. So I don't understand why he's here.
Yeah, so lots of loopholes. I understand the concept. It wasn't bad. Visually, it was okay. Just if I had to pick out of the 9, that was my number 9.
Mm-hmm. Well, my number 9 was The Walls of Madness, which is kind of similar to this one, where it's like it takes place in, was it the Himalayan mountains or Mount Everest? Something like that.
Yeah, it was like a secret...
It takes place in a secret facility in the mountains, and there's been a contact breach of something, and these two characters are put alone together, and it really starts off with this guy in like a mental ward being like, you're not gonna believe me, and this one journalist who's like, tell me the story, and he's like, oh, for your book, like, it's brought up a lot, and I'm like, okay, Gale Weathers, relax. This dude's just being gaslit because this demon creature comes out of nowhere and kills this girl that he's around, and he's holding an axe, and everyone thinks that he killed her, and then he kills this guy because he's gonna get killed by him, and then the old doctor that is there knows about this creature that killed the woman, but pretends like it didn't happen, literally just gaslighting him more. And then she dies by him. There's like this flute, like, it looks like a face hugger from Alien, a flute. And basically it's a Cthulhu story. It's a Cthulhu story, and the CGI is wonky. I wish that it was just because I know they talk about an anomaly, which is like very like SCP Foundation. If you know SCP stuff. Do you know SCP?
Mm-mm.
SCPs, there's like a lot of stories on them, but it's like horror, like little short stories. I think you can even write your own and submit it in there. I wish it just went down that path of they stay in the facility and then there's a creature and just add more characters there. I don't think we needed the insane person thing. I think it could have just all stayed in the facility, and then he was made to look like he was crazy and then was arrested, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It just, like, there's this one scene where he's like laying on his back about to be like, he's like on death row, and like a woman crashes through and is like laying above him with a tentacle wrapped around her. It looks really dumb.
And she gets pulled back.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like a Cthulhu story, which I'm like, this has been overdone so many times.
Whenever I was like, this is Cthulhu, and I was like, this gives me Cthulhu vibes. Like, this gives me like a person who's a fan of Cthulhu did this. Is proud of this work. It was also just like the energies of the character. Sometimes like it gave me very early 2000s sci-fi 7 p.m. movie with the CGI.
Yeah.
Like it gave me that kind of where like I didn't watch it.
But it was like a sci-fi movie if it took out all the really, really, really boring stuff and just kept out it kept in the cliff notes and turned it into a 20-minute episode. There you go. I wish a lot of bad movies did that.
When the professor looked at the camera and saw everything that happened, and she just like grinned, I was like, oh, she's dirty. I was like, she bad.
Yeah, but then
That
nothing.
was funny.
She
But then
gets killed. So, and she's like, it's all about a concept of time. Like she sees the crazy dude in the future. I don't know. It was one of my least favorites.
yeah,
That one I was just annoyed with watching. And then Pesticide, I was like, I can at least like the weird creatures.
I just understood what you gag worthy. She
What?
saw him and then he saw her.
Yeah. Because that like flute thing is like, because she keeps saying time is an illusion, which is funny because earlier or in an earlier episode in one of the stories they talk about how like film is like a little time traveling device. So I was like, okay, I know the directors don't know that some stories are similar, when they film stuff, but I feel like the producers should have at least known that like some stories are kind
That
of
because there was a scene where this little boom, I was expecting in sibling rivalry for them to like mention orange juice. Like I kind of expected that because
orange juice.
it was mentioned in Model Kid. The kid was like,
Oh,
so I was just I expected like you said, like where you like some of the weird little symbolisms. Like I wanted the sister to be like, oh no, I don't want orange juice. I would have thought that was funny, which we'll get into that one. That's
okay.
a little pocket, for
So
the listeners.
just to like recap, my number 9 place is the Walls of Madness. Zanny's is the Pesticide, and then my number 8 place is the Pesticide, and Zanny's number 8 place is the Walls of Madness. Now we're gonna go into our number 7. So Zanny, what is your number 7 ranking?
Number 7, actually, really good segue. My number 7 was Model Kid.
Model Kid, really? Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Now I feel like honestly, from 7 and up, none of them were like I wasn't annoyed watching them.
I will say like 1 and 2 I was really proud of, and then 3 through like 7 I really like. I remade this list like 6 times, and I was like boop, 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 boop. Like they're so close to each other. So even though it's like number 7 on my list, it's still like I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, so do you want to explain the Model Kid cliff notes very quickly and then reasons for that listing?
Basically, this kid is obsessed with horror movies and obsessed with dolls and like action figures and collectible things. His mom is a big supporter. She's very sick. I did not know. The mom is very sick and she's about to pass away. And so she invites her sister and her sister's abusive husband.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the mom knew at the time, but like you find out.
No, I think she at least knew that like he was not a good guy because
like something was up.
Because when she mentions to her kid like, "Hey, aunt, something is coming," and he's like, "Oh, cool," and then the kid's like, "Wait, is uncle coming too?" And she's like, "Yeah," and he's like,
"Yeah,
that guy is lame."
So like they move in, and then this guy is obviously lame and is doing a bunch of stuff, and it's awful. And the kid gets like an ad that's like order this custom doll. It's basically like a voodoo doll.
Yeah, because he's obsessed with horror. I think he gets the Creepshow magazine comic books because for those who don't know, Creepshow started out as a comic book.
Mm-hmm. And so then he orders this voodoo doll of his uncle and basically like uses the voodoo doll to
fuck with him, dude.
Fuck with him.
Turns his leg around, turns it right back around. So like he's like, my leg twisted to his wife, and the wife's like, okay. And then he puts him on a heater, like the doll on a heater, and the uncle has like a fever. It's like, I like that.
And then like he uses like his other action figures from like horror movies to like attack his uncle. So then those action horror people come alive in the real world. Mm-hmm. It was good. The only part that was like confusing for me is I was like, meh. Is I was like, you let this person live with your kid when you knew they were bad but not bad, but you had hesitation. Also,
I mean, she was about to die. I think she was kind of just like, I have to put my kid somewhere.
Put my child somewhere. I did not realize that the mom had cancer and was like dying because at the beginning the kid's in a Dracula costume, and so I thought it was like a Halloween episode. And I literally wrote my notes. She was
playing a cancer patient. You thought?
I said, "Come on, Gypsy Rose, you better work. I love this cosplay." And then she said, "I have cancer," and I said,
"I'm screaming, Zanny."
And I just stopped and I was like, oh my God.
It even says in the beginning when it takes place, like 1972.
Yeah, I literally was, I think I was writing down the name of the title and was like, boop, 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 boop. And then I was like, oh, she has cancer. She's not Gypsy Rose.
Yeah, you can't say that to someone with cancer.
But then also the thing that made me mad, right, is she's like having this great conversation with her kid, laughing, thriving, surviving, and then it's like, bye, and then turns the corner and is like, and like coughs up a bunch of blood. And then goes back to living her normal life as if nothing happened, and then dies. Like, that's not how that works.
You don't know that. You don't know her.
You don't know her life story.
The mother does die, and I guess she like is haunting maybe the movie projector because he sees her in there, and then like that's what like convinces him. She's like, me and you're like, and the monsters are watching you. We'll always be there for you. So yeah, like he uses the dolls that like manifest into ripping the uncle in half, which was pretty cool. Does he get turned into a vampire at the end? Because like, why does she freak out? The aunt is like,
so she freaks out because I said the same thing. I was like, girl, why are you freaking out?
Is it because the figure? Okay.
Is the scene set up of what just happened downstairs, which I love that for cinematographic energy. Basically, she comes home. This really brutal
cinematographic energy.
Cinematographic energy.
Cinematography.
You know, I can say nothing.
Or right. Cinematic. Cinematographic energy. We just making up words. You've been on Twitter too much.
She comes home to this awful crime scene, and then upstairs the boy has recreated it, obviously with the dolls. Mm-hmm. And so she's gooped and gagged. That's where the quote that Terrah was saying for the past one, the walls of madness, where like she's looking at when she's alive, they're watching this movie together, and she's like, I love movies, and she's like, why do you call it a time machine?
The son says that, and then she's like, well, it basically encapsulates you when you watch a movie or like who you watch a movie with. And she says to him, I'll always be there with you. And literally dies watching the movie with him, which is sad. But
we said AMC theaters. I was like, don't give me the speech.
Was it Nicole Kidman? Who was it?
Yeah, Nicole Kidman. It just cuts to Nicole Kidman's face goes
Heartbreak
over her face.
Feels good in a place like this, guys. But I like this story. I don't think there's necessarily anything bad. I mean...
He said heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Dies on your son. Yeah, I thought the story was fine. I mean, I obviously ranked it different from 7, so... My number 7 was The Right Snuff. So, The Right Snuff is a story about these 2 astronauts in this weird little space machine that has like an anti-gravity machine that one of the astronauts made it. And I forget the guy's name. He's in Clueless. He's in one of the Freddy movies.
That makes so much sense.
He's like the skater boy in Clueless. I forget his name. Honestly, I thought he was married to Neil Patrick Harris, but I just got the white dudes mixed up. I ain't even gonna lie. I had to Google it. And I know I'm not the only one because it was like this actor's name married to Neil Patrick Harris. And they were like, no, this guy is married to this guy.
They said no.
He's not even gay, I don't even think. So, yeah, it takes place on this space station. And they get in contact with an alien creature. And so they're the guy, clueless guy, I think his name's Ted. Ted is like, he's told by basically the America to be like, you're representing us and you have to go talk with the creatures. And his friend, quote unquote, is like super fucking jealous that Ted made this anti-gravity machine and he's getting all this fame and that all creepy dude is known for as just being the dad of the first guy who went to the moon or to Mars. Yeah. And I was like, how did you qualify for this job? Because he's like seeing his dad and like hears his dad's thoughts in his head. And I was like, did you pass I saw that iCarly episode when they have to pretend like they're in space for a long time. You're telling me you passed that exam? Because this guy's crazy.
Also like mentally unstable. Well, yeah, that's the same thing as crazy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for mansplaining that to me, Zanny. But he's like so jealous that when Ted goes into the other room and they're like checking out like if everything's working on the ship, he like malfunctions the room to lock and he turns on the anti-gravity thing, I guess to put on a lot of pressure, which I'm like, why would you put that option in your fucking space thing? Why would you have it be an option for you to turn the pressure up by like 1,000? So that's what the crazy dude does. He turns up the pressure so high in the room that Ted his bones break and his face just implodes in on itself. Which is, it's cool. And the gag is, they're about to beam what's supposed to be Ted up to the aliens to talk. The crazy guy goes and he's like, hey, I'm here to talk to you. And he said, you're not Ted. You're supposed to give us your report. And the gag is Ted was a fucking alien and was tasked to go to planet Earth and be like, let us know that the species is okay. And he was murdered by the crazy dude. And so the aliens, which the alien looks cool. It's like this huge creature with
Weirdo.
a brain with one eyeball. And he was like, he basically goes, well, fuck you. Your planet sucks, so you know what we're going to do? Send the moon into the earth and kill everyone, and that's your punishment. Bitch, gag. So the fucking, like, before he dies, because they send him back to the ship, he gets a news broadcast, and it's like, hey, we got a clip from the station, let's watch it. And it's Ted literally dying, and they basically all realize before they die that the crazy dude just fucked everyone over, and the moon crashes in and kills everyone on the planet. So, cool story. I think, you know, it just wasn't that. I think it just needed like one more character. I think it just needed one more character, and maybe not the whole like. I think I'm actually confusing the character names, but
no, Ted was it was Ted and Alex was the one that wasn't.
Alex was the crazy one.
Yeah,
I think it could have been fine without the monologue of his father in his head, and then you see the father.
Well, that too is, and this is like a thing that I'm noticing with the like Creepshow. There's like these tropes that they have to over explain it, which is crazy for me to say because I love over explaining and I love over analyzing. But like the character at the very beginning was like, I had to work, like no one supports me. Like the media, when they do like a broadcasting interview, is like, thank you so much, Ted. Like we love your hard work, and like completely dismisses Alex.
And then Ted has to be like, Alex is great too.
Yeah, like and like that, I was like, that's all you had to have. I didn't have to have the dad being like, you're not good enough. Like obviously, all of America doesn't think you're good enough. I don't need another chapter of stuff. Like it was so long.
You don't have to beat me over the head with it. You just have to turn the pressure all the way up until my head concaves on itself.
And then like there's one scene where like Alex is hearing this weird slimy like.
Yeah, which is like the alien contacting. Which I wish we got a scene of him like going in, and it's like Ted being like, "Oh hey, what's up?" and you don't like you're confused.
Because instead he just goes, and then walks away, and I'm like, you were literally okay. So that's I feel that.
To be fair, he's hearing everything. He's hearing his dead father speak to him. So
that's valid. You said he's hearing a lot of things right now.
So yeah, that's why that was my rank number 7. Just because I feel like it wasn't necessarily bad, but there was other stories that I liked just a little bit more. My rank number 6 is Dead and Breakfast, which is a good pun because I was like, why does everything have dead in it? Not Night of the Living something, dead something. But it's supposed to be a pun on bed and breakfast. So it's an Airbnb story of Allie Larder, who we talked about earlier, who's from Final Destination, and her brother. They have basically an Airbnb that's not going well of their haunted house that their grandmother killed a lot of people in, but they never found the bodies. And there's a social media person who goes there, and she's like really popular, and she's like, well, I'm gonna check this place out. And they kind of like take her up on it to help bring in some traffic, which it does, but when she's not having a good time, they start to lose their booking reservations, which I'm like, if you cancel, you get a cancellation fee. Like, y'all just throwing money around like that? Okay. At one point, the social media person's like, hey, you know what? I know we got off on a bad foot, but let's, like, investigate together to see if this place is actually haunted, if your grandmother actually did anything, because Allie Larder's character is so fucking offended that someone thinks that her grandma didn't kill anyone. So they go in this whole thing. They find like trapdoors, a fucking giant safe room with a sewing machine in it, which is literally me in my room, just sewing in a dark room. And, you know, they find nothing. And Allie Larder is like, I'm gonna scare this bitch so hard because she's fucking with us. Like, she's ruining. It's very much like Superhost, if anyone's watched Superhost. Like, even like the gag is the social media girl like finds a hidden passageway, looks at them talking about like, oh, we hate that bitch, and she's like, instead of leaving, she goes, okay, I'm going back to bed. And Allie Larder comes into her room, scares her, gets fucking ghost pepper sprayed.
Yeah.
Allie Larder's character is like, oh bitch, I'm now really gonna kill you, and then does. She like really fucking kills her, and then the brother is like, oh my god, turns the camera away because she was still live streaming. Like, guys, please help me. And I like reading the comments. It was like, like one of them was like, it said the sister's name, like, yes, queen. Like, like when she killed her.
They were so funny.
Yeah, so he turns the camera away and then hangs his sister, and then now he's making all this money. And it's like, well, I guess this is a murder house now, a murder-suicide house, but then he falls into a trap door, and then you see all the dead bodies there, and he gets trapped in there too. So that, I think, it's a pretty good story. I mean, like I said, it's number 6. It doesn't mean that it's an awful story. I think Ali Larter did a really good job. Her screams, she's a really good scream queen. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go to an ad break, and when we come back, we're gonna be talking about more Creepshow.
Creepshow.
All right, spirits. Call. I blew them all out. I got one still in here. Spirits, called to me. Zanny, what are we doing?
Oh, hello, Tarot Card. I'm speaking to you through my candle.
Oh, hey, girl.
We are coming back from a delicious ad break where we are going to buy the things that they told us to buy or listen to.
Your call cannot be accepted right now.
We're coming back from an ad break. How are you?
Good. Yeah. That was one of your top stories, right, Zanny?
Yeah, that was one of my top stories. I liked it. I liked the fact that it was, I don't know, like it was like a trope that I was like, this is modern, but like funny and camp, and like it made sense. And I also like that it was so realistic, like it could actually happen. And I like that it mixed the worlds of like this older generation that doesn't know how to use social media and like this younger generation that's like obsessed with social media, and kind of merged them into a good little sandwich of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then like also like it was the first time that like I've seen a movie where like someone like the younger person is like a social media influencer, but they're not like LOL, yes queen, work. Can
we are slaying the pussy down. And I like that her name is Morgan, but she goes by Morg. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I ain't gonna lie.
Like she was just like, I do a true crime podcast, and I'm like, she was very down to earth. So I was like, I love this.
Can I say something? I hate to interrupt.
Say something.
I like that they added that true crime podcasters do not know their fucking boundaries, and I think they exploit a lot of people, and I do like that meaning of the story in here, because honestly, some true crime podcasters, whenever I do a story on like someone dying, I don't specifically say people's names. I don't do anyone who was murdered. If someone dies tragically that was like forever ago, I'll talk about that, or I'll talk about someone who survived a tragic event. But I feel like to glorify a murderer, or, you know, make profit. I'm not making a lot of profit. I make like probably 5 cents an episode, y'all. But subscribe to the Patreon. But you know, like they're profiting off of these people, which I guess that's kind of what Allie's character does. Ali Larter's character is profiting off of. Now, we all like spooky stories, but I don't know. I feel like some true crime podcasters, they exploit a lot of people. Some of them actually have helped in terms of some legal cases, but it's like, oh my god, can y'all stop talking about that one woman who went in the elevator and then wound up in the water tower on top of the hotel? We get it. We know that fucking story. Leave it alone. Like, leave some of these people alone. The same with Jeffrey Dahmer. I know someone's cousin who was one of, like, my friend's cousin was one of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims. Yeah. Like, he always has to see the story every single year. Like, people Ryan Murphy making a new fucking thing, or Evan Peters doing a new fucking thing. You know, like, these victims are exhausted because they're re-traumatized by everything. So that's my little rant on that. But this story is pretty good. So continue on what you were saying, because I interrupted you.
No, but I actually fully agree with that. Like, I think it definitely, there were some moments where it shows that obsession a little too, and like where you're like, this is real though. Like, people really do be doing this sometimes. And so I liked that, and like I liked how Homegirl's character like mentally goes insane with her obsession of her grandmother, mm-hmm. and she does it very well, because like at first she's like the brother's like, why are you excited about this? Like, why are you trying to prove that our grandmother mm-hmm. did this? And she's like so passionate and so excited about it that it allows and manifests into her doing it.
Yeah, even Morg is like, your grandmother was crazy, and she goes, I'm not crazy.
So I love this,
really interesting.
Like the layers, I thought it was executed very well.
I think that I would love to see Creepshow go into more single episode stories, because I could see this being a single episode story. so we could flesh out more of these characters. Also, who in their age is calling their grandma grandmother?
Yeah.
Is that me? Do you say grandma or grandmother?
I said she's my grandmother.
Or like granny or something, or grand. Like we all have like no one casually says father or mother. You know, you say mom or dad. So I think that's the only thing that bothered me. Also, little nitpicky bothering me. She's live streaming in landscape, bitch. When are you live streaming in landscape? It's mainly in portrait.
Stop.
Y'all were duped. Y'all been duped. So that was my number 6. So what was your number 6?
My number 6 was pipe screams.
Okay. I mean, like, honestly, like, a lot of these were just, like, shifted all over. It wasn't my favorite, but, like, that's on my list. That's obviously higher.
For me, the story's just kind of similar. This plumber is hired to do this job to fix this apartment complex. It's falling apart. There's a hole in the pipes. Gets there, finds out it's lead pipes, is like, I can't work on this. And the landlord is like,
oh, he's like, I can work on it, but I need to just do entirely new pipes.
Oh yeah. He's like, we have to gut it out and we have to put whole new pipes. It's gonna cost you all this money. And she's like, actually, and the landlord is this like stuck up little white girl.
The landlord, like, little white girl, she's old as hell. Her name is Barbara Crampton. She was in Reanimator. She's in Jacob's Wife. She was in Your Next. So she's got some acting creds to her.
And she was good. But she was like, that's why I hired you, because you have the worst review system on the platform, like in the universe. And then he's like, no, like that was my brother. Like he worked for us. Like he's not here with us anymore, XYZ. And she's like, it doesn't matter, because if you get one more bad review, then you're not going to have a business anymore. So you're going to fix these pipes. And he's like, okay. And in the process of doing so, he finds this creature that is like...
It's like the Blob.
Yeah, it's just gunk. It's hair. It's gooey. It's disgusting. It was very gross. And it like attacks. And so really long story short, he recognizes that this thing's been living in the apartment forever. He befriends people that live in the apartment complex. So like this landlord is awful. Like they're
and racist.
She's mean. She's racist. She's a like awful human being. And so then he's like, well, how are we going to kill this creature? And then one of the girls is like, maybe let's not kill it. Let's use it. And then he's like, ah. And so then they use this creature to kill the landlord.
Yeah, they lure her into the basement and everyone's got weapons. I wish someone had like in Halloween Kills, everyone has like bats and knives, and there's this woman in the background with a fucking iron. I wish there was a woman in the background with an iron so that we could just continue on with her story.
Yeah, we could carry on.
But yeah, they lure her to like this like hole in the basement, and then the creature comes out and pulls her in and kills her. And then they kind of like just keep the creature and like feed it, which is like cute, but please
doesn't
stay
fix the
there.
problem of the pipes.
Well, maybe they were like gonna band together and just get the pipes done.
Yeah,
because now they don't have a landlord, so I mean, I guess they can just own the building,
do whatever. Yeah. It was cute. It was a fun concept. Obviously, we could dissect loopholes and things like that. The weird part was like his whole hand gets ripped off at one point. And
yeah, it's like the skin. It's like bones, right, y'all? We see like bones and muscle.
And then you see the creature in the corner, like sucking skin into its mouth. Yeah. It was so gross.
But then it like jumps on his face, so I'm expecting, because I like this character so far. He's like, he's supposed to be our main character, and it jumps on his face, and I'm expecting, oh my god, he's gonna pull this thing off, and it's just gonna be his fucking tongue exposed, like no jaw. But his face is fine, so I was like, oh. But it is kind of like the Blob, but it can get off of you, but it does like have some acidic properties to it.
Yeah. And then like I don't know, it was just like some things that like they really, again, like they overplayed that the apartment is falling down so intensively that you go into one of these units and the unit is just awful, like it's foul. Mm-hmm. And the woman that lives there is like, rats, ill. See what you're living in? Like you're that shocked by a rat? Your wallpaper is completely peeling and covered in mold. Like you're really shocked that there's a rat in your apartment?
Unlike you, some people don't want to live with vermins and all this shit. You want to live with the rats and the roaches. But you don't want to wash your damn tights, bitch. That's probably what's luring them in.
My tights are washed. I wash them after every third show.
You get only 3 shows in a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my number 6. Or that was your number 6, and then Dead and Breakfast was my number 6. So, number 5. My number 5 was sibling rivalry. I do like this story. And it has Molly Ringwald, which, if you don't know who Molly Ringwald is, watch The Breakfast Club, watch Pretty in Pink. You're gonna see her. When
You know what else she was in?
She
Secret
was
Life of an American Teenager.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say she's in some horror movies too.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize that. I watched Secret Life of an
I
American
didn't
Teenager.
recognize it either until I was looking at the creds. And I was like,
yeah,
oh,
I didn't
shit.
know until I watched this one, and I said, "Oh my god, that's Molly." And I was like, oh, and I said, "That means that must have been Molly." And then I checked the casting, and I was like, "Holy shit, I didn't know that."
Yeah, so she's playing like is it a principal or?
I think she's the school counselor.
Yeah, she's like a school counselor who's listening to this girl who is very much like Zanny. She gets off topic very easily when she's talking about a subject. And the main thing is that her brother has been plotting to kill her, and the guidance counselor is like, okay, well, anyways. Molly Ringwald does really good. I think the acting in this is pretty good. But it turns out that the brother is trying to actually really kill her because she's a vampire, and the prosthetic is really good when you see her eating people. She accidentally ate her mom and her dad, and the brother witnessed the whole thing because her friend turned her into a vampire. The only reason I do not like this story is because it ends with them going to kill Molly Ringwald's character. And I was like, why didn't it end with them focusing on giving us a story of killing the friend that turned her into a vampire? Because we just get a quick cut of being like, hey, so where's your friend? She's been missing. And they decapitate her, obviously. So I wish we just focused on that. And that was the end. I feel like there was no need to, because she turns her brother into a vampire too. Reasons. That's pretty much it. That's the story. It's middle of the road for me, so.
It was like the ending I really liked. The ending parts of the story I really liked. The end of the middle I really liked. I was not it just took it was a really long climax to get to that point. And then also and this where the other one they played that young teenager kind of persona who's just so down to earth, and I was like, I like that. You're how an actual teenager person is. In this one, I was like, you're overplaying.
It was a little bit overplayed.
Molly is literally why do you think your brother's killing you? And then instead of just being I saw them researching weapons, and I saw this, and I saw that, and I saw XYZ, this is why. She's like, well, first I woke up, and I went to get coffee with my best friend Diane, and his
hot brother, which that scene made me very uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. I was like, why is this needed? And then at one point, she's like, and then I was asleep, and my best friend kissed me while I was sleeping, but I kind of liked it. And Molly's like, oh, so you were sexually assaulted? And she's like, no. And I was like, these layers are uncomfortable, and I don't like this. And this is giving a really, this whole thing is very, that whole thing was just weird for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then towards the end, the prosthetics for the face.
I was gonna say prosthetics were pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, that was I was like, this is not. I will say this: when I saw that, I was like, that's not what I think a vampire is. I was like, you could have saved that for. But then I was like, but also I'm okay with this interpretation.
Well, I mean, remember the interpretation of VHS 94, how the vampire was just a giant mouth. I thought that was cool.
That's team. That makes, and I wonder if that was where they were going with.
This show came out first. VHS 94 came out in 21.
Team, just kidding. But yeah, that was that. The prosthetics were everything. Was not expecting it. Gag worthy. The only thing I didn't like was then whenever the friend went and bit her on the neck, she didn't have something similar. It was just
it was just little fangs. I was like, this isn't plot hole. But yeah, that's why that was my number 5 spot. So Zanny, what was your number 5 spot?
My number 5 spot was Right Snuff.
Oh, okay. So, and yeah, we already talked about that.
Yeah, which I liked it. It was good. It just I liked the storyline. I really liked the storyline.
I'm glad that we could get to that point very quickly. Number 4. My number 4 spot was Pipe Screams, just because I like the poetic justice of the poetic justice of being we have this creature, what are we going to do about it? And instead of being we're going to kill it, they're like, no, we're going to kill the real monster, which is landlords. Yeah, racist landlords. So
me literally cleaning my entire apartment because my landlord is coming today.
Zanny is not threatening their landlord in any way. I want that on the record, and neither about it. So what was your number 4 spot?
My number 4 was Sibling Rivalry, which is why I made that face, because I was like, that means our 2 and 3.
Oh my god, we had 2 that were gonna see. look at us. Yeah, like these stories like are not bad. They're not bad
No,
stories.
they're really
So.
good. They're really good, and they're fun. I said to Tristan, like, acting, cinematography, CGI, like, so much. I don't want to compare, but so much better than the first one, Creepshow one. The only thing is their stories took longer to get into, which is ironic because Creepshow one, I was like, they're just jumping into it, and I was like, I want more time. So season two, I was like, did we get that? I like this.
Yeah, I'll give my overall opinions on the season at the end, but yeah, I'll go back to that. But yeah, number 4 was sibling. Cool. Oh my god, look at us. So, Zanny, what was your number 3 spot?
Night of the Living Late Show.
Okay, this is the episode in the season that was just individually its own episode. So this stars Justin Long and Darcy Carden. So Justin Long's been in Jeepers Creepers. He's been in Tusk. He's been in a lot of movies. Darcy's been in The Good Place and a lot of other shit too. So Justin Long's character Simon makes this device, which is like, it's very Ready Player One. Like, it's a whole, like, it looks like a tanning bed, but it's really cameras all in there, and it's VR, and it basically puts you inside of your movie of your choice. And you're basically acting in the movie. And they're playing real shots from the movies, too. Which is kind of fucking insane. Because we get Night of the Living Dead in there. Which is just really cool how they even... Like, I know it's a green screen, which kind of... It looks very obvious that they're in a green screen. Because everything else is kind of blurry. But I do like when they do incorporate new scenes into it. I like their intentions. So he's basically cheating on his wife with... It's like an episode of Black Mirror. He's cheating on his wife with one of the characters in his favorite movies, and she finds out because he's just butt-ass naked in the fucking...
Butt-ass naked.
Butt-ass naked in the machine. And he...
Just moaning.
Yeah, literally just moaning. I was like, girl, you just gonna wake up and there's just cum?
All over your camera?
Yeah. All over the cameras? Yeah. Are we gonna have like glitches in the next simulation? And you know, she even tries it out because she's like, what the fuck's in here? And the creature even like hurts her because she gets out of the booth and like her eyes are bleeding, so she realizes anything physical that happens in there can happen to you in the real life. So when he's in there again, she changes the movie to Night of the Living Dead, which is really cool. It's a really awesome movie. If you have not seen it, go see it. And I think it's kind of cool because I think George A. Romero directed that, and George A. Romero, I think, helped direct the original Creepshow movie. Ooh. So it's kind of like full circle. And yeah, she cuts off his thumb. His wife cuts off his thumb so he can't press himself to get out. And the zombies basically eat him alive, so he dies in the real life, which is so cool. What was your reasoning for ranking it at number 3?
One of my favorites. I liked the quality of it, the production of it, the thought, like the concept of it was really, really, really good as well. Casting, I loved the casting. I am obsessed with her and I'm obsessed with him. And then I just like kind of liked the energy of virtual reality. Like I feel like that's something that's going to be, it's already been, like it's been in Black Mirror. It's been in a few other little snippets here and there. It's been in Ready Player One. Like we're starting to get into that world where
where the augmented and VR virtual reality is becoming our reality.
She's a spokesperson.
OR.
She works for Meta.
Oh no. Fuck Meta. Fuck Meta.
Yeah, but it's like it's something that like for it to be turned into like a spooky essence. I was like, this is kind of like I'm here for this. Like this is art. Like this is this is becoming a film trope. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I didn't like is like she changes the movie at the end. So I would have maybe just like instead of the whole focus of it being like a weird horror movie, they could have just like he could have been watching anything.
Mm-hmm.
He could have literally watched like a movie about falling in love and like he was like the main character and like that. I would have liked that a little bit more.
Well, I think it's just because it was his favorite movie and that his first crush was the character from that train movie too.
Yeah, but
Christopher Reed. If you don't know Christopher Reed, he's I think Samurai or whatever his name is, and Count Dooku. I think he's Count Dooku too.
Yeah, he mentions like 5 different things. He's like, you're this and this, and you're this and this. It really was a good movie. The top 3, I really was like, I don't know. I think the only thing I would change is that because this one was longer, to me, ironically, this one was a 45-minute episode, and it could have been a 20-minute episode.
I like how long it was. Also, it's Christopher Lee, not Reed. I'm sorry. I liked how long this was. I actually hope they do longer episodes. Well, not necessarily longer episodes, like past 40 minutes, because I think 40 is the perfect. Do not become American Horror Stories, because that show's garbage. But I think, like you were saying, like Dead and Breakfast, I could see that being a longer episode. The other ones in this series, like I could see my number one. We haven't talked about it yet, and we'll get to it because I know it's your number two. I could see that being a longer episode, and sibling rivalry I could have seen. Pipe screams could have, I like this story. Obviously, it's ranked different for me, but
what was it for you?
My number 3 was Model Kid.
Oh, wow.
Just because, it's the first episode, and we're getting a taste for the new season, and, it's sad. It's a sad movie. I think it's shot, or a sad story. I think it's shot well, and I think it meshes well in the end. So I think that's why I ranked it as number 3. So.
That's valid.
But Night of the Living Late Show, I think the cast was good. The concept is interesting. I like that, like, towards, like, when she, like, finds out that he's been kind of cheating on her. When she's even in the simulation, she's like, fuck you, bitch, to the woman, because it just plays off where they were last at. And there's also, like, when she's like, when he's eventually going to go back in there, she's like, you want some coffee? How about some breakfast? You're not eating your food. Because she's obviously trying to fucking kill him. She even has her cleaning supplies ready for when he dies. So, I think it was good. I think Darcy actually did really good acting in this, too. So, that, for me, because we're going to go right into it, is my number 2 spot, Night of the Living Late Show. I think it was pretty good. Pretty tense too, and I think it was just a perfect. I honestly don't think it needed to be longer. Don't think it needed to be shorter. I think it was just a perfect
little moment.
Yeah. So I mean, with 2 great actors like that, like I wouldn't want it shorter. What is your number 2 spot? Because I just said mine.
My number 2 was Public Televised of the Dead.
Television.
Public Television of the Dead.
Yes, Public Televised.
This was iconic for me. I thought this gentleman, they work for this news station, this television station. It's very PBS kind of vibes. This girl is kind of a cunt. She tells kid stories in real life, but like outside of it, she's just like kind of a bitch.
You mean
she's like,
on TV, she's nice, but in real life, she's a bitch.
Yeah, and she wants the 3 p.m. time slot desperately because like that's going to prove her worth. And so she's kind of like, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. This like Robert Nom man who is like obviously a portrayed image of Bob Ross.
Oh, you mean Norm? I think his name's Norm or something.
Norm, yeah, it's Norm.
Yeah, he looks exactly like Bob Ross. The whole, like, he's doing the same thing of like cleaning the paint. It's obviously a Bob Ross nod.
Yeah, and so like that's his time slot, and the production person is like, look, like that's been there forever, like we can't take that. And she's kind of threatening, and she's like, you're gonna give it to me or you're gonna get fired.
Because she's racist as fuck too. Because she's like, well, what are they? I'm gonna tell my higher ups, and what are they gonna think about someone like you doing this to me? And then she even calls her like sister. Like it's very very racist. And she's even like, well, I'm gonna go wipe my ass unless you want to do it for me. I was like, girl, the whole time I was like, I am waiting for you to get your come ups, bitch. I want you to just eat absolute shit later.
So this is going on, and while this is all going on, there's like another, studio space in the same filming area, and it's one of those like appraising like antique shows. Someone brings this antique book.
Oh yeah, classic. You remember the antique things like call right now, and you can like even I know that because I would like when I would visit America and I'd wake up at like 3 a.m. and I'm like I want to watch cartoons and that bullshit was fucking on.
I loved it. I watched it as a kid. I was like, that
get a real authentic sword.
Yeah, and so that's going on. It's basically the Book of the Dead, and it has a lot of necromancy stuff.
No, we can't go over it that fast. We have Ted Raimi here. Ted Raimi is playing himself. Ted Raimi. If you don't know Ted Raimi, him and his brother helped made Evil Dead, which is focused on the Necronomicon, which is the Book of the Dead, which is in this story. The Necronomicon is in this story, and it's like, bitch, yeah, relax. You're like, oh,
I didn't mean to kick it.
You're quaking. It's literally a reference to Evil Dead, and he, Ted Raimi's character is like, oh, I've had this in the family for a long time. He's like, there used to be a key for it, but I lost it. And it's like, oh, but I have it right here. And it has the same campiness of Evil Dead. Like, even later, a character... Well, so they unlock the book, and then they immediately read a passage, and if you know Evil Dead, if you read a passage, bitch, someone's gonna turn into a demon. So Ted Raimi turns into a demon, and at one point, he infects that bitch earlier, the racist one, and she turns into a creature and another guy. And, like, you know, when they're attacking, there is even this one point when I was like, oh, someone's gonna say groovy. Someone's gonna say groovy because that is Bruce Campbell's thing in the series. He says groovy, and yeah, someone says groovy. So it's very, like, definitely fan service to do that.
Yeah, there were some Easter eggs. I liked it. I enjoyed that. They go back and forth between studio spaces. You know, it kind of shows the parallels of like what's going on. I love when things show what's going on to other people at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it shifts over and like they're dealing with the drama of like switching shows, XYZ. The demon, you know, goes between studios and like fucks some bitches up. There's this weird like puppet bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Gets the book and is like reading the book because they're basically what's happening.
She
is
has like the
flying.
racist lady. She's like has her own demons talking to her. She's like, "You're never gonna be anything, you dumb miserable bitch." And she's like, "I'm sorry, Daddy." I'm like, "What is going on here?"
It's weird, but she has this puppet, which is like her character for the kids show, and that also gets possessed. And so like the whole thing is like this demon is trying to read this book on live television to you know, get everyone under its spell, etc. So the puppet picks up the book and it's like reading the book and it's like and the way they kick the puppet and it just flies out of a window.
Bitch.
And like the zoom in of the puppet and like the eyes are glowing and it's like it was so funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's got all the campiness of Evil Dead in this, but like a different approach, which is why I like it.
Yeah, it was so good. It was probably my favorite show, one of my favorite ones.
I was gonna say that's not because you don't.
I mean, like probably out of like the whole, like out of all of Creepshow, like this is in my like top tier out of season 1 and 2. Like this was just, to me, it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
So Zanny, so I already said my number 2, which was Night of the Living Late Show. So what was your number 1?
My number 1 was Dead and Breakfast.
Oh my god, I'm shocked! You didn't totally tell me this earlier. So is there a reason why you ranked that the highest?
I don't know. To me, it seemed the most realistic, and I really loved the different tropes between the different generations kind of going at it at the same time. And it just, like you said, like it's true crime, but it also kind of shows the light about how much people obsess over true crime to the point that it's like it's questionable at times.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked it. It was a little slow, but
I think they could have, because in the beginning we obviously need like an icebreaker, and it's like the grandmother killing somebody. I was like, I think we could have cut out the beginning, because the whole point of the story is to be like, did she really kill anyone? It's like, well, yeah, we saw this in the beginning, so that we know it's true. I would have liked if we didn't know that, and we got more time fleshing out the characters, and then the reveal at the end, which is there are dead bodies there. Because we know the whole time, yeah, the grandmother killed somebody, because we just saw it in the beginning of this episode.
That, I don't know, it could have been cute. There's things that I could have maybe changed, but I loved it. It was still my number 1. Also, I just like that concept, like Dead and Breakfast. I love puns. It already had me like giggling before I even watched it, you know? What was your number 1?
I just want to say, though, whoever titles these episodes, we need to do a little bit better. Night of the Living Late Show, I feel like should have just been anything that's like Night of this, Dead this, Public Television of the Dead. I guess it's like Evil Dead, but you know, like a lot of them, especially last season, were like that. I'm like, okay, whoever is on the team.
Well, also like, I looked at my list now and I was like, Night of the Living Late Show, and I was like, I don't even like sibling rivalry. There's a thing. It's like, oh, sibling.
Yeah, I don't see how this is a correlation to Night of the Living Late Show.
I was like, what the fuck is Night of the Living Late Show? And I was like, I don't know why I ranked that. And then I was like, what was Night of the Living? And then when you were like VR, I was like, oh yeah, that makes no sense. Besides maybe the fact that like he watches it late at night when his wife is asleep.
But he even does it in the day, so I don't know.
Yeah.
My number 1 was Public Television of the Dead, because I feel like it was so nostalgic. Like even when you see this fake Bob Ross character, like painting, and it's just the music is really nice. It's like whimsical, kind of like soft, like happy music. It's not like, you know, daily vlog music, but it's music that's supposed to make you feel something. And even when you see the main character who works at the station, like watching it and she's smiling, like, you know that this show means something to her, and the characters like each other. And even when she cancels his show, he's like, oh, well, can we do another one? Because he's just a positive person. And I think a lot of people can resonate to watching Bob Ross videos and being like, that was their time to just not talk about anything dramatic, something over exciting. It was just like a calm thing to just be peaceful. And I think that it gives you that like sad moment of this person who is just doing something innocent, and this happens to people. They just do something innocent, and then, you know, obviously that's not going to get the ratings you want. And then obviously the Evil Dead reference, like, come on. So that's why it's my number. I have a poster of Evil Dead right here. Like, it's not even, it's a Japanese, it's huge. I'm not going to pull it up right now. It's going to make
I literally turned around because you, and I said,
yeah, it's right there. It's right there, Sandy. So yeah, that was my number one. So that was our official ranking of our list, 9 to 1. Y'all can, you know, split it up how you listed it, because we kind of just both gave our own. So overall thoughts on the season for me, I think that the stories were better than the first one. Sometimes less is more. I know the third season is out and they have more episodes. I wasn't scared. I need something to scare me a little bit. The stories are interesting, but I need a little more scare.
There was very few times that I watched it where I will say that even the first one, like the first half of the season was almost funny, and the second half
this season or the first season?
For the first season, and the second half got like, because at first I was watching it with like my friends and Tristan. And I was like, my drag sister Kiana, and we were watching it, and we were like, this is funny, like this is camp, like this is everything, you know, tee-hee. And then, you know, we went to the club, and then I came home, I was like, I'm gonna watch the rest of them by myself. And I was like, this is different alone. Mm-hmm. But then I like looked at it, and I was like, no, it's just the plot was just significantly more spooky the last couple episodes of season 1. Mm-hmm. Season 2, it was like less spook and less like prosthetics and less that energy, and more like psychological thriller, which I like psychological thriller. Don't get me wrong. I like the energy of Creepshow, because Creepshow to me is a really good mashup of comedy, psychological thriller, like regular horror. Like it's a big mashup of all of these things. I think it just needs
a balance.
But there needed to be more. I definitely wanted more. I wanted more on the edge of the seat, like boom, you know.
Honestly, I think we get the balance. Like the model episode, the model kid episode is obviously very different from sibling rivalry. Like one is more comedy focused, but I think I just need a balance of what's funny and gets dark, or just like if something is serious, I feel like it just needs to have those horror moments that make me go like, oh my god, you know. I haven't necessarily felt scared watching this. Like when I watch Barbarian, bitch, I'm on my seat. When I watched Barbarian, I was on my seat watching that movie. And bitch, when I was watching X, I was on my seat. Like, I need a moment in the show, this TV program, because I know they got greenlit for season 4. Like, I just need that moment where I'm like,
fourth wall. What if this is an episode of Creepshow? What if this is a Creepshow episode, right? And it's 2 people who review the show, and we're like, we just wanted more, we just wanted more, we just wanted more. And then
bitch, the director's watching. I want to be in a fucking horror thing.
And the director's like, oh, y'all wanted more?
Actually, you know what's a gag? Is I tweeted out that my Barbarian review was out, and the producer of the film, like, liked my tweet. I was like, period.
This is foreshadowing. One of us is going to die.
What?
This is foreshadowing, because we're reviewing Creepshow, and we're like, we want more. Give us more. And then the director's creeping on your stuff for one of these other movies, and then it's going to, if this was a show, it would then cut to the scene of the director of Creepshow being like, and clicking pause, and then researching where we live, and then doxing us, and then coming and murdering us.
Doxing us, oh my god.
Or and then it cuts to your next podcast, and we're like, yay! And it's me and you getting murdered.
Oh, that's a little. Does that mean he edited it and uploaded it? So.
Yeah.
So was that like any other overall thoughts about the season?
It was really good. I do love a psychological thriller. I just want a little bit more, like you said, a little bit more grit and to put me on the edge of my seat. I'm very excited for season 3. I also am excited for like the little mini shorts and like the movies and stuff that they have. Those look exciting.
They had this. They've already had movies, so
yeah.
From a long time ago. They do have a recent like individual one. They did a Christmas special, so maybe we can watch that sometime. And then they did like an animated special too. But I know season 3 has already come out. It came out last year. So shall we review it? Sandy?
Shall we review season 3? I think we should. I'm excited. I love it. I'm gonna be sad when we catch up. Because I'm like, this is actually really fun. And I'm like, we watched them all.
Well, bitch, by the time we catch up, we're gonna have Dragula. So.
Ooh. Oh yeah, we are almost there.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at zanny.ex. That's ZANNY.ex. Instagram. I was looking at gmail.com.
Instagram.com.
You can also find me on Twitter. It's just ZannyX. And you can find me floating around town in the Kansas City circuit, hosting Monday morning on Mondays. It's a really cute alternative show. It is the only alternative show of the city. We bring in a lot of out-of-town entertainment. You should come. It's really good. It's really cool.
And I'm Terrah Card. That's TerrahCard. You can find me under most platforms under that name. You can find this podcast on Stay on the Line, on Facebook, Stay on the Line Podcast, on Instagram, Stay on the Line TC, on Twitter, and then on Patreon, patreon.com/Stay on the Line, where you can get extra bonus content. And at the highest tier, the Pee-Pee Poo-Poo tier, you get your name read out on the podcast. So I'm going to pull you up right now. Pee-Pee Poo-Poo tier, we got Matt King, we've got Caitlin B, Willow Whisper, Keith W, Pobre, Zingcat, Coronation, and Rebecca Carlson. So if you want to subscribe to the Patreon, you can for just $1. You get commentary tracks, and you get the audio episodes early at free. And then at the $3 tier, you get the video edition as well as the stuff I just stated before. And then at the $7 tier, you get bonus content videos. And then, yeah, all that shenanigans. So, yeah, it's patreon.com/Stay on the Line. Like, y'all literally, if you cannot tip me at my shows, I would prefer it if you actually just subscribe to the Patreon, even if it's just $1. $1, that's $12 for the whole year that you would support me. So you can do that. I want to hit my goal of 25. I got some shows in person, but I'll be working on a little bit of my drag, and hopefully I can get some spooky looks out. Because I want to make outfits with liquid latex on them to give it texture, but I just
I wanted that so bad.
I just don't know how to do that. I'm Terrah Card.
And I'm ZannyX.
And make sure you stay on the line. Bye.